Let me briefly introduce the chair and discussion of the session. The session will be chaired by Professor Dr. Niaz Ahmed Bhutto. I request you, Dr. Niaz Ahmed Bhutto, to please come on the stage. Uh, he is a distinguished economist and academic leader with over 26 years of experience in teaching, research, and administration. As a Fulbright postdoctoral fellow at Rutgers University, USA, he brings a wealth of international expertise to his current role as a dean of the faculty of the Management Sciences Department at Sukkur IBA University, Pakistan. His research focuses on economics, management, and policy analysis, with numerous publications in high-impact journals. Mr. Bhutto serves on various national bodies, several editorial boards, and professional associations. Dr. Bhutto continues to shape the future of business education and research in Pakistan through his dedication to excellence and innovation. Secondly, we have the discussant, Dr. Karim Khan. He is the discussant. Please, Dr. Karim, come on the stage. Dr. Karim is the discussant of this technical session. He is working as an associate professor at Pakistan Institute of Development Economics. Dr. Khan has worked extensively on issues related to political economy, governance and institutions, public policy, conflict, trade, and budgetary frameworks. In PIDE, he has been involved in leading roles like Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences, Director ORIC, Head of Department Economics and Econometrics, Head of Research Section on Governance and Institutions. His work on political economy, governance, and institutions mostly exhibits how alternative regulations or institutional arrangements translate into economic outcomes. For this technical session, we have three paper presenters. Dr. Moneeba Iftikhar, please, Dr. Moneeba Iftikhar, you can come on the stage. Dr. Moneeba Iftikhar, she is a faculty member in the Department of Mass Communication at Lahore College for Women University. Second paper presenter is Ms. Mariam Latif. Mariam Latif, Doctor? Okay, they will ask you. Okay, right. Ms. Mariam Latif, she is a graduate student of economics at Quaid-e-Azam University, Islamabad. And finally, we have Mr. Ghulam Shabir, experts in public policy and digital governance. Mr. Shabir has intensive experience working in international public and private companies. With this introduction, I now ask Dr. Professor Ahmed Nawaz Bhutto to moderate this session. Over to you, Dr. Bhutto. Thank you.
Thank you. This is Niaz Ahmed Bhutto. Sorry for disturbing you, but just to drag the attention of the audience. First of all, I welcome you all on behalf of Pakistan Society of Development Economics on the 38th annual meeting and conference of very important conference. I remember I have been attending these conferences in the past. Very interesting, the theme of the conference is URAAN Pakistan, growth through the digital transformation, right? Though this topic has been very close to my heart, and I have been listening in the morning sessions, the various people, especially I was impressed by the talk of our Federal Minister, Mr. Hassan Iqbal. He highlighted the key issues related to why Pakistan is not growing at the pace as desired by this nation, by this great nation. So many countries who got independence lately, now they are better than us, performing in every indicator, in every area. While we are lagging behind, as Hassan Iqbal said that, do we have a lack of talent? Do we have a lack of motivation? What we are lagging behind? What do we have in deficiencies? Although I do not completely agree with Mr. Hassan Iqbal that we have competencies in all areas, but at least we have natural resource in abundance. That's the God-gifted given to our country. We have talent as well, but he talked about the ecosystem sustainability, and he highlighted the key important factors like peace and harmony, sustainability, political stability, he talked about, and so many other factors that I don't want to repeat. But the important thing is that this is a dream that going to trillion economy, and this is a 10-year dream to go from, less than $400 billion economy to 1 trillion economy by 2035. And how we can achieve this dream. This dream cannot be materialized by the government policies alone. We have to work together, all the agents of the society. If we see the triple helix model, the government, the corporate sector, the academia have to join hands together to achieve this dream. The universities are known as the laboratories of the innovation. It's not just only the knowledge dissemination institutions, but the creation of knowledge. Of course, we are the people who understand these better than none. But of course, when these policies are framed at national level and then goes down at the bottom level, how many of them understand them properly, and the efficacy, effectiveness of these policies then matter a lot. So we are very happy that we have very special technical session that's preparing for digital tomorrow. This is a session that we have to talk about today, and we have 3 papers here. The first paper is about digital transformation in Pakistan, cybersecurity laws, digital media, and youth gig workers. This will be presented by Dr. Moneeba Iftikhar and others. It all is there, but I would prefer to say others. This paper is about the gig workers, their issues, especially the cybersecurity issues. A qualitative study has been used to see the matters, the problems, because less research is about the cybersecurity and all other factors that help the gig workers to come to the platform and contribute to the economy. So I would like to call the presenter, Dr. Moneeba Iftikhar, to come to give presentation. Dr. Moneeba, you will be given 10 to 12 minutes for your presentation, because this is my job to tell you. I am told to tell these things to all the presenters. And please, then I will request the honorable discussant, Dr. Karim Khan, to discuss the paper. And he would also be given a time, and he knows he knows better than I know. Then I will open the floor for question answers. I request all the audience, please, normally the research conferences are very boring, especially after the lunch. They say that we fall asleep with open eyes. But let me tell you that these, I have gone through these papers. They are very interesting. And the presenters are very much energetic and motivated. And if you listen to them and give them good response through your feedback and questions, this session will be very much effective and contribute something for the conference. Thank you, please.
Thank you so much, sir. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good evening and assalamu alaikum to all of you. It's really an immense pleasure and privilege to travel all the way from Lahore and to attend the PIDE conference, first ever for me, because I'll show you my introduction. I'm not an economist, but obviously as a social scientist, we have been connected with all the disciplines. So this area is now being one of the favorite areas when I talk about the economy, which is the gig workers side, as Pakistan has become the has considered the fourth, at number 4 for as a freelancer economy. So there are certain observations as an academician. I've been looking into my students that how they have become the gig workers now. So let's have a look to the title, which is the Digital Transformation in Pakistan, Cybersecurity Laws, Digital Media and Youth Gig Worker, Assessing the Awareness, Vulnerabilities and Economic Impact. So it's just a brief introduction that I've been working in Lahore College for Women University, Department of Mass Communication, and before that I've been in the industry and worked for certain brands which were multinational and national. Meanwhile, I also wrote a book called Folk Media, because being a media expert, I think so it's not important to just focus on the digital media. I think we cannot forget the roots. So I had my book that I launched in London in 2019. And then I'm an international speaker, represented Pakistan in 9 different countries in certain research conferences and as an ambassador, and then worked with the government bodies as a consultant as well. So very quickly I'm moving forward. So here is an introduction. So I would be very comfortable if I have the portable mic with me so that I can move on, because it's fixed.
If it is available, please.
Yeah. Well, the introduction is all its way that from the morning we have looking into this, that now there's a digitalization, the focus is on the digitalization. So I won't go more on the introduction by reading the slides. The gist of all this research is that following the digital trend, now we Pakistanis are now more focused about the digitalization, obviously that every sector is related with that. And as a media expert, I always say that the digital media is now should be the curriculum part in all the disciplines, because everything is now digitalized. And that digitalization, especially in the post-COVID era, has become expedited, and everyone has now taken it as their earning tool. So there were certain observations regarding the gig workers, but here in this paper, which is I operationalized more, that my focus is not only the riders, the Uber drivers, rather we have taken the students or the postgraduated qualified gig workers who are related more or less with that yondra, maybe they are from computer sciences, from the IT, from economics, that how they are working as a gig workers, but there are certain issues when it comes to the cyber attacks, cyber security, their knowledge and awareness about the cyber laws, how to counter them, and if with all these penalties, what would be the economic impact in their productivity. So I'll just moving towards the motivation of the study. As the gig economy is, Pakistan is growing and attracting youth seeking flexible employment, because obviously there is no hard and fast rule and you are always flexible. You are not bound to any organization, so it's always fun to be sitting at home and just be on your computer and work for that. Challenges include inadequate legal protections, lack of the social security, cybersecurity threats, and obviously they all are correlated with the economic productivity and impacts. Tailored awareness strategies are needed, because here my communication side comes up, that we need to change the behavior when we have to counter anything. And for that, the strategies should be tailored according to the psychodemographics of the people. The focus should be on improving the digital literacy. Nowadays, I want to let you all know that with HEC, we the media academicians are working on the MIL, the Media Information and Literacy. There should be a single curriculum for all the disciplines, that how to use the media, what is the digital literacy by using the media, otherwise you will be caught by the PICA Act, so you have to be very, very careful. And then training programs should be focused. Despite Pakistan ranking among the top 5 countries, the highest number of freelancers, there remain a significant research gap in exploring the economic implication, legal vulnerabilities, and cyber security challenges facing by these gig workers. So this was the motivation. There were the certain objectives to examine their awareness level. This is very important, that are they aware about the cyber security while doing this, and then to explore their understanding about the cyber laws. When we talk about the youngsters, I think it's very important to know their understanding about the particular thing. And then the other one is their trust on these laws. And then to extract the future safety measures from the minds of the youth gig workers, and then to explore the economic vulnerabilities of these workers due to the cyber security threats. So when we go to the ontology and the epistemology of the study, and I know that most of the people in this hall are the economists, and I know the strata on which you people work with the PLS and the structural equation model and big data and the quantifying study. Now the focus of the other social sciences are now put towards more towards the qualitative, because I think so that to gather the knowledge, we should not be relied that the reality is just one. So to dig this thing, we go for the qualitative side, and the method we have chosen was in-depth interviews by taking the sample of the gig workers from the certain graduates from different departments. Some of them are the content writers, some of them are the web developers, application developers, digital media handlers. So all these people have been taken for the semi-structured interview, and these questions were extracted, and then further on through the interview, they were, they're split, and then obviously some of the very unexpected observations and their the data has put us to go for certain more questions. So I think so I don't need to read them because they are more from the objective sides. I want to put your attention more on the concepts that were extracted as a predictors, as a mediator, that could be the baseline of any further theory or the model which could be tested again and again in this context. So firstly, we saw that more than 5 hours, the percentage to use the internet was only 57.7%. This was really, for us surprising. I thought that you must have been spending 20 hours. They said, no, we are experts. When we work, it's more than 5 hours enough, because the focus was not that to spend their internet hours on scrolling the things and all. The focus was more that when they work, how much time is required for them. And the awareness was 73.2%. That was good indeed, but if you look at the whole concepts and the thing that have come from them, it is near about 50s and 60s. The identification of the threat was just round about 50. Information sources was available, 67, not bad. When we talk about the privacy and security, it was unbelievable that they work in the communities. They have certain communities, the community of the digital content writer, the communities of even the people who work for the digital media management for certain, and even some of them are also managing the digital media of the Chief Minister House. And they share the password with each other very quickly, that today you do this, next time I'll do that. So this was scary for us to know. And then security practice were very unsatisfactory, I think so. I think 56 is not very satisfactory. Then the peer influence was 60%. This shows the behavior of the youth, which I was talking on the side, that actually the behavior is basically the key factor that has to be taken to study more. And then the incident reporting is 59%, means 40% they don't even report if they have been attacked or they are being caught by any cyber crime. And then risk perception is again 52%. I don't know that what is in their mind when they perceive a risk. It means that we are on the same cliche that we cross the bridge when we reach. Look at that, what happened. So it's not a good thing for the digitalization. And then economic safety is 60% almost, and cybersecurity interest is just 50%. That they have no interest to learn about the cybersecurity. So when we extracted all these concepts by the NVivo, using the NVivo, we have got certain correlations of the variables that could be as the predictors, the independent variables. The other one would be the mediators, and then outcomes that can correlate it with the economic impacts are in this flow. the internet usage pattern could be the independent variable, which could be mediated by the privacy practices, and then the risk perception could be taken towards the significant side, and obviously that would improve their stability in the economics context. If the cybersecurity awareness, if they are aware about the laws and all these things, and then how to report and then how to counter, then the risk behavior can be mediated with this linear relationship, and that can lead to a behavioral change of the incident reporting, and obviously the stimuli for reporting can be increased, but maybe the activity would be declined, that I'm not safe, how can I proceed? So it could be negative side. And the third is the information sources. If the information sources are in a good form and shape, then peer influence can be mediated with the word of mouth sometime. Like I encourage my friend that, okay, I encourage my friend, sir, I am about to finish, that to do and to practice, because now we are safe, so it could be mediated, and then the safety intentions could be the behavioral change, and then resilience is the gain. The conclusion is that it is vital to go into these type of researches. I request to the economists that put your focus more on the qualitative side. Go dig deep inside the youth, because the youth is so much diversified that we cannot make one policy for one side. We have certain age groups, psycho and demographics are very, very, very important, that has to be taken. And then our workers are greatly vulnerable to the cyber threats. Educational qualifications they do have, but they lack awareness. So what I said in the beginning, that we took the educated gig workers, and you just look at the data. So think about all those who are not educated and they are using the digital media. What would be the result? So there is also a recommendation for the future research. And then there is a framework we have given to you. You can work on that. And the Educational Institute, policymaker, now they should collaborate. What a lady was asking, that academia should be taken into the consideration. And the more important thing is the policy recommendation, on which I'll finish it out, that the cybersecurity education and digital literacy programs are important. I believe there must be, but youth are not interested. Why they are not interested, it has to be found out, and we have to design according to their psychodemographics. And then the campaigns should also be run like this. And then the cybersecurity laws, they do exist in the country, but the youth is not trusting them, that either there's a rule of law of reporting these cybersecurity. So it has to be mentioned by the policymakers, by the administration, that the action would be taken against if things happen, because sometimes it happens, but youth, they don't trust. Their trust has to be won. And then promote the secure online practices. Again, the media information literacy subject is very important. Either a course is very important, that how to use the media in certain other disciplines. And then digital media has become an integral to everyone's daily life. Educational institutions should prioritize cyber security awareness in their programs and collaborate with digital platforms to enhance the community knowledge. So this is all about the presentation. Thank you very much for bearing me, for listening me. Your questions are welcome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Moneeba. Now, first of all, I request Dr. Karim Khan to give his technical feedback
Okay.
on the different perspectives of her paper.
Thank you, Dr. Saab, and thank you, Moneeba. It is really interesting study as far as the theme of the conference is concerned. But actually, as the authors claimed that she is not economist, I'm sorry for her, we are all economists. So we are very much interested in economics. Let's stay on the paper. Gig economy is really a modern concept, which is not only important for employment perspective, but actually it has an impact if we see especially the modern economies. But I have to provide some professional comments on the paper. In order to motivate this idea, the author should have clearly given, especially about its impact. I'm really interested about the size of the gig economy. And in particular, I'm very much interested in its contribution to employment, and also its contribution to GDP, and similar things. Actually, this would motivate the idea. Most of people, especially students, they don't know about the gig economy, especially its size. Second, as far as vulnerabilities are concerned, actually, I would say that apart from vulnerabilities, the most important things are the threshold conditions in which actually the gig economy works. For instance, we don't know how many people who are interested in this type of economy have access to internet. Actually, it is very important in order to reap the full potential of the gig economy. We have infrastructure. As we already listened in the previous panel discussion. Likewise, if you see, we don't know about the legalization process, whether some activities are legal in Pakistan. You know, I can give you an example. In previous days, there was an app, BKB. Actually, they were very much like in Urdu, Nosarbaz. So people did earn money in that app, but actually it is then finished. What she's claiming is like cybersecurity or cyber threat. Likewise, if you see in terms of other facilities, like banking facilities or taxation policies for gig economy, you know, we still don't have PayPal in Pakistan. So transfer of money in that type of economy is really an issue. And you know, banking transactions are very expensive as far as we know. So actually these threshold conditions are more important than the vulnerabilities. Finally, as far as your indicators are concerned of the cybersecurity, most of the indicators like awareness, risk perception, economic safety are around 60%. It means that 60% people are at least aware about the cybersecurity or cyber attacks or cyber threats. So actually it is not creating that hurdle in the functioning of the gig economy. Instead, actually the other structural bottlenecks, which I already mentioned, they are more important in this type of economy. Moreover, which especially if you see in nowadays, gig economy, as far as I know, I think its contribution is $1.5 billion to some estimates.
Sir, if the gig workers are registered or well known, but there is a debate that
$1.5 billion, as far as I know.
which is on the papers.
Please, this is
Yeah.
not a dialogue to
Okay, Atha.
So the people are very much interested in its particular potentials. For instance, it can be like more than 10 to $12 billion, but actually we don't know. So people are very much interested in this type of work. So security matters only when there is something to protect. Thank you.
Thank
Any
you, Dr. Karim Khan. Now I open the floor for questions and the feedback.
Thank you, Ji. It's a good presentation. Dr. Moneeba, I have just two quick questions. Why you use ontology and epistemology? And the second question that how you quantify the result, as you mentioned that you're doing thematic analysis. So you have any base while you quantified the results, you're showing that's at the 67%, 20%, 30%. And the last question, I have serious question about your sample size. So how you select the sample size and how you justify the sample size is sufficient, or you can say you reach the saturation point. Thank you.
Thank you so much for these questions. Sir, firstly, when you talk about the percentages, obviously we have certain codes when we transcript the data. And then from these codes we have got certain percentages which we often do in our rhetoric analysis and in our discourse analysis. So there is a certain practice for us when we go for the codes and then we find out these type of roundabout figures. Secondly, you talk about the ontology and epistemology. In the paradigm in which our researchers fall, when we go for the exploratory study, we have to see the ontology, epistemology, and then later on we decide the methodology. So that's why we have to go into these genres. If it would be a quantifying study, obviously we would be following some of the deductive model and some of the theory that could be followed. So the debate would be more towards the positivism side. But it was the interpretative side, so we went for that. And thirdly, when you are talking about the sample size, in the in-depth interview, we do prefer to have 8 minimum, but the saturation point was not came up of that time, and then we increasing our interviewees, and when we talk about the sampling, it was the purpose of sampling, because we wanted to have the sample of those people who are related with that, and to some extent a bit convenient, because there are certain things that people sometimes don't want to mention themselves as a gig worker. So the people whom we know, or we tried to get some sources to know them, we took them on board for this. So this is from my side, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's very interesting study. You said that this study will set stage for others to follow qualitative research. Building on Dr. Osman Ahmad's questions, I think you said that you used epistemology and ontology to select the relevant methods. But I wonder that how both are related to your data. I don't see any interpretation of both ontological and epistemological perspectives. I think one of the problems of using qualitative research is that we slowly, rely on just one tool of data collection. And you also did the same, actually. You used semi-structured. But the problem is that we cannot verify the data. So it's always advisable to use at least 2 tools of data collection. I mean, you use just semi-structured, and it is problematic. So you should have used another tool to cross-check the data. So there is always a problem of reliability, and
Validity.
you cannot, yes, and validity. So this is basically sometimes a question of reflexivity. So being a qualitative researcher, you should have talked more on the reflexivity if there was an issue. So even I think there was a theoretical construct missing from your study. I mean, there was no theoretical framework, there was no discussion of, the theory that you used. This is, I think, very simple,
Sir,
actually.
thank you so much, sir, for these valid comments and questions. Obviously, there are certain limitation of the time, but in my complete paper, I've mentioned the protection, activation, motivation theory, which is the conceptual background. Obviously, in the exploratory study, we cannot follow any model or theory in just one go. We have to take certain supportive theories to build our dialogue. And sir, what you are talking about is that the one concept, you are absolutely right. It's just a beginning. Inshallah, in your next conference, I would be coming for the other side of the study to quantify the data and to say that either it's validated or not. So the things are under process. It's just
One last
my
question. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
To
Thank
her
you.
lady.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, समिया फ्रॉम पाइड। मेरा क्वेश्चन जो था वो सैम्पल साइज से था, जो सर ऑलरेडी कर चुके हैं। और सेकंड क्वेश्चन ये था कि इन डेप्थ इंटरव्यू के लिए लाइक आपने एक कोई आपके पास एक स्ट्रक्चर्ड क्वेश्चन आपने उसके लिए बिल्ड किया था, या ऐसे ही इंटरव्यूज़ किए जाते हैं? क्योंकि मुझे क्वालिटेटिव रिसर्च का नहीं पता।
स्ट्रक्चर नहीं होता
जी
It was not structured.
ओके थैंक यू सो मच बच्चे आई एम सो मच इम्प्रेस्ड कि हमारे जो यंग रिसर्चर्स हैं वो सवाल पूछते हैं तो पहले तो मुझे बहुत खुशी है दूसरा जो हमारे इंटरव्यूज़ होते हैं हम उन जो अपने ऑब्जेक्टिव्स में से कुछ रिसर्च क्वेश्चन एक्सट्रैक्ट करते हैं थ्रू द लिटरेचर और उसके बाद फिर हम उनकी एक चेकलिस्ट बनाते हैं कि उनसे कौन कौन से सवालात पूछ सकते हैं बट समटाइम ऐसा होता है कि ड्यूरिंग द इंटरव्यू हमें कुछ सवाल इमीडिएट ऐसे हमारे बन जाते हैं जो हम एक्सपेक्ट नहीं कर रहे होते कि वो डेटा का पार्ट सॉरी क्वेश्चनर का पार्ट हो सकते हैं या उस चेकलिस्ट का तो फिर हम उनको भी जस्ट कीप ऑन आस्किंग देम जो रैंडम भी है बट वी हैव टू फॉलो द चेकलिस्ट तो वो समटाइम आपके 40 पॉइंट्स
Time constraints, so I think we are repeating things, but I have also questions which I thought that.
Sir, I want you and it will be honor if you ask the question.
Yeah,
Any
the
other
doctors
question?
have already asked the epistemological, ontological perspective, which was more on the research design, that how this helped you to particularly choose this method. Though you have not mentioned properly in your paper, I have read it in the way that how you approach them, and you have not mentioned the analysis technique, like you use thematic studies in the paper. Though you have research objectives, but your research questions are missing. My question here, because you focus too much on here, is also mentioned some are the what you call the predictors, some are the intermediators, and so on. My question would be, this is a qualitative study. How did you determine this is the predictor, this is the mediator, this is something like that? What research mechanism, methodology you use to find out the difference between the predictors and mediators?
Sir, actually they are more hypothetical from the data. They are not something which is concrete.
Actually, they have a different meanings in research, because the second part of your qualitative research is to use the quantitative, and where the mediator has a different role to play and predictor has a different role to play. They are very different, and they're also called moderator. So I would suggest you to use that. You also said that you use some coding and other things which are not mentioned. Which tool you use for your coding?
Okay. So that was the help from the economics department to use the code. If you see that Dr. Hafza from economics, she analyzed the data.
Actually, it's not mentioned which
yeah,
software.
because let me admit this, we want to have a more comprehensive and extensive paper for the publication, and I often send for the conferences a brief paper as a you know the main
so
area.
I'll just summarize here, but just please mention the softwares like NVivo,
Yes,
Atlas,
sure.
or some
That
other
would be
software. Please do mention in the paper.
Thank you so much,
Thank you very
sir. That-
much. It was a wonderful
Thank you, sir.
presentation, and it was a wonderful area to be investigated, and more areas to be, of course, investigated in future in the same area.
And
line.
thank you so much,
Thank
Player, for all the comments, and be ready that for further investigation, I
So-
might email you people for your guidance
Yeah, now
to
I'd like
more
to
polish it. Thank you.
Call another presenter, Ms. Mariam Latif. Her paper is on digital transformation and sustainable development, the role of smart governance and urbanization in South Asia. She has done a quantitative research focusing on the smart governance and urbanizations to see the impact on sustainable development. She has used multi-technique, econometric techniques to see the robustness of results. It's a wonderful study. I won't discuss what were the results. It's better to listen from her.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mariam Latif. I am a PhD student at School of Economics, Qaid-e-Azam, Islamabad. I am honored to present our research today on digital transformation, smart governance, urbanization, and sustainable development. This research has been conducted in collaboration with Dr. Umaima Arif, Assistant Professor at School of Economics, Qaid-e-Azam University, Islamabad. I would also like to extend my sincere thanks to PIDE for providing us with this opportunity and platform to present our work. The layout of the study consists of introduction, motivation of the study, objective, theoretical framework, methodology, findings, results, and policy recommendations. Let's begin with the introductions. Digital, digital transformation is becoming a powerful tool for development in today's world. It helps in saving resources, encouraging innovations, and making it easier for people to access services like health, education, and jobs. Technologies such as artificial intelligence, big data, and the Internet of Things allow governments and businesses to monitor environmental effects, reduce energy use, and manage waste resources. However, there are also serious challenges. This includes digital divide, which means not everyone has equal access to digital tools. The problem of increasing electronic waste and concerns about data protection and fair access to digital services. Research shows that digital transformation can support sustainable development only when policies are inclusive and governance is ethical. It's important that digital change benefits everyone, not just a few. Digital tools can increase transparency, give voice to underprivileged communities, and support fair economic growth. Countries that adopt digital solutions in their policies can move forward to a more resilient, fair, and co-friendly nature. In short, digital transformation can lead to sustainable development, but it needs careful planning and management. Let's proceed to the next slide. Motivation of my study is South Asia, home to more than 1/4 of the world population, is urbanizing quickly. This brings many challenges like pollution, weak infrastructure, and rising inequality. In this context, digital tools and smart governance can offer solutions. This study is important because it gives practical advice to South Asian economies based on real-world examples and adapted to local conditions. It helps policymakers understand how digital tools can be a part of national plans to improve governance, protect the environment, and support inclusive growth. Objectives of my study is here. This study focuses on 5 countries: Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Nepal, and Sri Lanka, over the periods of 2001 to 2022. The goal is to examine how smart governance and urbanization affect sustainable development. While many studies exist, most focus on developed countries. This research fills a gap by studying South Asia and also addresses financial issues like differences across countries and the impact of one country change on the other. My theoretical framework is based on the 3 main fundamental ideas: institutional theory, which looks at the role of organizations and rules; the smart city framework, which focuses on using technology in urban areas; and the digital governance model, which focuses on how technology can improve government processes. These frameworks help us understand the relationship between governance, urbanization, and sustainable development. Essentially, we want to see how smart governance, ICT, and urbanization affect sustainable development in South Asia. Here is the regression model of our study. We can clearly see dependent variable on the right side, where we are independent variables and control variables on the left side. This slide shows the equation we use to analyze this. Description of the variables. This table presents the description of the variables with a focus on the key variables explained here. The study employs principal component analysis in Stata to create ICT index, which combines mobile, cellular, internet usage, and the telephone subscriptions. Data of these variables were obtained from UN, STI, and the World Bank. The e-government index, which evaluates digital governance based on online services, telecom infrastructure, and human capital. The Sustainable Development Index measures a country development in health, education, and income relative to its environmental impact. In our analysis, we followed a series of steps. First, we tested whether the relationship between variables was the same across the country, slope homogeneity tests proposed by Swame. Then we checked if the data for different countries were independent cross-sectional dependence. We also tested for stationarity, which is about whether the data is stable over the time, and co-integration, which tells us if there are long-run relationships between the variables. For the main analysis, we used specific statistical techniques: initially fixed and random effects model, then pooled mean group, PMG, MG, and common correlated effect, pooled mean group, and common correlated effect mean group. To account for the characteristics of our data, to tackle the problems of slope homogeneity and cross-sectional dependence. These are the results of my studies. of fixed effects and random effects. The Houseman test result shows that we should rely on the fixed effect models, meaning the unique characteristics of each country matter in this analysis. The results of the fixed and random effects model are presented in table 2. The result indicates that the impact of e-governance on the sustainable development is positive, but statistically insignificant. In contrast, urbanization and ICT shows a positive and significant relationship with STI, highlighting their crucial role in promoting sustainable development. However, the findings also reveal that urbanization has a negative and significant impact on STI. To address this issue, the slope heterogeneity test was applied and its characteristics rejected the null hypothesis of homogeneous slope coefficients, indicating variation is the effect of explanatory variables across the country. Furthermore, the cross-sectional dependence test also rejected the null hypothesis at the p-value of 0.01. This confirms that the existence of the interdependence among countries, thereby by justifying the use of advanced estimators that accommodate such econometric issues. Table 3 confirms that the relationship between the variables are indeed different across countries. Table 4 indicates that there is cross-sectional dependence, meaning that what happens in one country affects the other. So we needed to account for that in our main analysis. These are the results of the Unit 2 test. This table shows the main results of our analysis. The variables population, GDP, corruption are stationary at first difference, while all remaining variables are stationary at level. These results from the Unit 2 test tells us about the stability of our data over the time. The co-integration test results are important because they confirm that there is a long-run relationship between the variables. This means that in the long run, changes in the smart governance, ICT, and urbanization do affect Sustainable Development Index. These are our main results. The common correlated effect mean group results shows that the e-governance and ICT infrastructure have a positive and significant impact on sustainable development, but urbanization alone has no meaningful impact. When combined with ICT, it shows a positive long-run effects. In conclusion, our findings shows that e-governance and ICT infrastructure play a crucial role in promoting sustainable development in the long run. Urbanization also has a positive impact in sustainable over the time. Importantly, the positive effect of urbanization is enhanced in the presence of ICT infrastructure. The policy guidelines from this study suggest that linking urbanization and digital transformation and prioritizing digital investment and encouraging innovations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariam, for such a wonderful presentation. Now I request Dr. Karim Khan to give technical feedback on different perspectives of the paper.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. And again, thank you, Mariam, and our co-author. Again, it is very interesting study as far as the themes of the conference is concerned. Digital transformation and sustainable development is the theme that needs to be discussed in this conference. The basic premise in the paper is to see the impact of smart governance or digital transformation and urbanization on sustainable development and cross-section of countries. And the cross-section of countries include South Asian countries. Second, they are also looking at the interaction between urbanization and smart governance, as far as I got the idea from the paper. Again, the paper, though, touches very important area, but actually it is very weak in theoretical background. How? If we see the definition of sustainable development, actually it has two ingredients. The first one is we need to grow at a respectable pace. And the second ingredient in that index is that actually that growth at which we grew, at which we, the growth at which we should grow, actually that should be climate resilient. And also it should not confer negative externalities on future generations in terms of environment, in terms of debt and other societal problems. And if you see these ingredients and tell us or tell the audience that how smart governance or digitalization affect these ingredients, then actually you would be very clear in your theoretical framework, especially in specifying for your econometric models. Second, personally, I'm not a very big fan of panel studies. If you see the growth trajectories of Pakistan and India and Bangladesh, they are really different. Look at the case of Pakistan. We have 3 growth periods, and all are driven by external factors. The first one is that of 1960s. Actually, in 1960s, we did grow because of USAID and concessional development financing at that time, actually, which was related with our signing CETO and CENTO. For instance, actually, I was analyzing recently a study, a review paper. Actually, we did our expenditure to GDP ratio at that time, it was 11% compared to our tax to GDP ratio, which was 9%. So actually, it was deficit financing. Likewise, we grew in 1980s. Again, it was because of the Afghan war. And of course, it was associated with US aid again. And the third period is 2010s, that decade. Actually, again, it was war on terror. If you see, in comparison, India and Bangladesh, India did economic reforms in 1990s. They did liberalize their economy. They encouraged private sector. They did open their economy to global firms. And their growth trajectory took up since 2000 because of those reforms. And likewise, if you see Bangladesh, again, it is export-led growth. So what do we mean? I mean by that, actually growth in India and Bangladesh is driven by economic fundamentals. But actually it is not the case in Pakistan. Okay? So matlab ye कि if you combine these 3 different countries, then the combined results would be driven by either one country or the other. So actually it is not really pragmatic results as far as your study is concerned. Finally, if you see urbanization, smart governance, vis-a-vis sustainable development, actually there are a lot of indigeneity issues. Actually, we don't know whether smart governance leads to economic growth or economic growth leads to smart governance. We have the examples of Asian tigers. Actually, it was industrialization, not digitalization. We have now the examples of emerging economies like India, China, Malaysia, and even Vietnam, Bangladesh. Actually, all grew because of either industrialization and exports. And actually, we don't know कि smart governance growth के बाद आया हुआ है या growth से पहले आया हुआ है. Actually, you should have a very clear stance on that. Likewise, urbanization is growth. It is not an ingredient of growth. Urbanization do increase with growth. So we don't know whether it is causing growth or growth is causing urbanization. So actually these issues are there in your study. And I would really appreciate if you could improve these in the revised version of the paper. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abdul Karim. I had also the questions that you highlighted, but let's first listen the audience for questions they have. I'll open the floor for question and answers.
Nasir Khan from UCP, international researcher and reviewer. Your presentation was awesome. I have 2 questions only. You used fixed effect and random effect both. So how did you decide it? Did you use any test for this? How did you decide it? Number 1. And second was related to, I think, sample size maybe. But for the fixed effect and random effect, yes. Second question is, you used panel data. So is there any problem of indigeneity? Have you addressed indigeneity? And if yes, how you addressed indigeneity? Thank you.
We use fixed and random effects model when we have panel data analysis. According to Hassman test, fixed effect is preferable rather than random effects. We used a slope homogeneity test and cross-sectional dependence test in the panel data set. No, we have balanced panel data set, so we used to pooled mean group and mean group, common correlated effect, mean group, common correlated effect, pooled mean group. According to Hausman, common correlated effect, pooled mean group is preferred. If we have unbalanced panel data, then we use GMM.
Mohammad Afzal Khan from Qaeda University. As you have shown 6 objectives in your study. But actually, if you go to the slide that objectives of the study, there is single objective. Others are just the limitations, research gaps, etc. And in the results section, half of the variables are insignificant. So how you can justify in the model? Thank you.
My final results are common correlated effect, pooled mean group. These, according to these results, my final results, my focus variables are significant results. Urbanization, governance, ICT, and sustainable development. These are significant results, but others are insignificant.
It's a good presentation. Just a quick question. Why you used panel data? And why cross-country analysis? The last question, how you link your result with the Pakistan or with URAAN Pakistan? Thank you.
Because Pakistan is a developing country, I have taken the panel data because these are developing countries, South Asian economies, India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan.
Okay, now, thank you very much. So many questions, but I saw that you used the principal component analysis to make an index, but you did not show the results in your paper. Did you do that, and what were the results, whether the loadings were significant or not, and how did you develop the index?
Principal component analysis.
Yes.
Actually, they took it ready-made.
No, this research, they have mentioned.
No, yeah, I did on Stata
Yeah, it's mentioned that they did.
by this command PCA analysis.
So that's my question is, because we get loadings from them in the PCA, principal component analysis. Factor loadings?
No, mobile, cellular, and internet and telephone subscriptions, data download from WTI, then.
Okay, thank you very much. But I would suggest that please, whatever it is done in the paper must be presented in the paper, whether those loadings are significant or not, and what's the method of developing index, and what's the, because you have various indicators there, whether we have given equal weightage to all the indicators, there are different weightages given to these variables. So this is very important. And I would also repeat the same question of the endogeneity, because if A causes B, then B causes A, you need to find out, because there are so many factors. WDI index is not developed, but it's index which is very comprehensive. And the factors that you have mentioned there, the digitalization, can be the, what you call, causing the simultaneous causality with that. Tests can be done, and you have done multiple tests there. Some are significant in short run, some are long run. You need to discuss them properly, why they are significant in short run, why they are in the long run. And also other diagnostic tests which are missing in your paper. So overall, this research, this study is very good, but you need to work on those things, feedbacks given by different scholars and people. Thank you very much.
Time was very short. I will add in.
Thank you, Mariam. Now it's time for Law's presentation. Let me call Mr. Ghulam Shabir. His study is also qualitative, and he has written a qualitative paper on digital transformation of Pakistan, imperatives on policy, governance, legislation, and infrastructure. Actually, the Pakistan passed Digitalization Act in 24. His whole paper is on focusing, moving around that act, what is needed further, and he took the data from very specialized people who are in this sector working on it. He's also focusing on the ecosystem that is needed, required to materialize the fruits of this act. Please go ahead. You have 10 to 12 minutes for presentation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sir, thank you very much for providing me with this opportunity to present this work here. I will go straight to the research objectives, since this has been very newly enacted piece of legislation in Pakistan. So the objective has been to provide a conceptual and empirical understanding of the Digital Nation Act. And then the other objective was to explore that what are the inevitable requirements for digital transformation of Pakistan, specifically pertaining to areas like policy, governance, legislation, infrastructure, academia, and human resource development, in accordance with the provisions of the Digital Nation Act 2024, as well as the conceptual underpinnings of the Digital Nation concept. So these research objectives were actually then transformed into the research questions. First and the foremost question has been about that what does Digital Nation entail as an entire concept? Then, based on the Digital Nation Act 2024, what peculiar changes are imperative in the areas of policy, governance, legislation, digital and public digital identity infrastructure, academia, and human resource. And the last question has been that how these imperatives can be introduced to steer the digital transformation of Pakistan. The study has used a very plain exploratory method based on the key informant interviews basically employed for the data collection. And the purposive sampling has been used based on the predetermined criteria as a sampling method, and the criteria included relevant academic and practical experience in the areas of digital and technology governance, technology infrastructure, digital public infrastructure, cybersecurity, law, taxation, and academia. There has also been a binding on the minimum number of years of experience of the respondents consulted. It was 20 years actually, but at the end of the study it came out to be an average experience of 26 years for all the respondents that were consulted. And the thematic analysis in accordance with the Brown and Clark approach was used because the study was actually trying to explore the enactment of this Digital Nation Act under various themes. So it was deemed most appropriate method for for the data analysis. Now, as for the concept of Digital Nation is concerned, it actually brings in three specific areas where digital technologies are used and leveraged. One is digital governance, the second one is digital economy, and the third one is digital society. So if we look at these three areas, the concept gives us a very hyper-converged use of digital and other enabling mechanisms and technologies which help in improving the public services, driving economic growth, and improving the overall life of the citizens of any country. So now, what does this Digital Nation Act entail, specifically with regards to the governance structure this act proposes? This is a huge piece of legislation, but here we will only touch upon the governance structure under the act because of the paucity of time. So this act proposes a three-tiered governance structure to be actually harnessed or to be put in place for realizing the dream of digital transformation of Pakistan. The first and the foremost is National Digital Commission. It is a very high-powered commission to be chaired by the Prime Minister of Pakistan and includes membership from all the chief ministers of the provinces, relevant federal ministers, and heads of regulatory bodies like FBR, SECP, PTA, NEDRA, and SBP. Then there is another structure which is called Pakistan Digital Authority. The Act actually introduces this authority for preparation and implementation of the framework of digital governance and provision of guidelines and enactment of the standards according to the guidelines. And then, last but not the least, there is an oversight committee as proposed within this act, and this committee is to be chaired by the concerned Minister for Information Technology, and the committee is actually responsible for providing policy recommendations to the National Digital Commission and review the overall performance of National Digital Authority and ensure financial transparency. While having this in the background, based on the findings, what are the imperatives for policy altogether? Actually, wherever digital nation concept has been implemented in the recent history, there has been a unified policy applied around the concept. And once we see that in the context of Pakistan, we are lacking a unified policy for digitalization of the entire society, entire economy, or entire, governance. So a concentrated policy requirement is a major finding, but it is actually not addressed by the concurrent policies which are actually implemented or which are actually in place here in Pakistan. Then specifically, the existing policy choices that are already available with us, they deal with the facets of digital infrastructure, access, connectivity, government service delivery, e-commerce, but primarily those policies are sporadic in their nature, and they actually don't talk to each other. Then this Digital Nation Act, it has come to us as a binding, but it requires a clear and a coherent and a very well hyper-converged policy from all different facets and from all different sectors in order to make sure that this act can be actually implemented or this act can be enforced. Then for the governance, if we are to take the benefit out of the implementation or enactment of this act, then we need to actually take care of the overall governance arrangements which are actually contradictory. So the existing governance arrangements, they do not reinforce each other, and the proposed governance structure for Digital Nation Act has the potential to jeopardize the effectiveness and timeliness of implementation of this act. Another important area is the people, process, and technological readiness. In terms of governance, we don't have people, process, and technological readiness as per the findings of this study with our government institutions, and we are always struggling with the mindset of government's workforce, especially when it comes to adoption of digital technologies. This act also puts in place, as a matter of finding, this act requires other adjuvant, legislation. There are other significant pieces of law that we need to introduce as a country or as a nation in order to take benefit from this entire act. So what are those laws? First and the foremost thing is that this act provides immunity to the existing or to the proposed governance structure in terms of taking the decisions when there is some conflict that arises between this act as well as the existing legislation. So this immunity can be counterproductive, and it can be an impeding factor to the enactment of this law. And adjuvant regulations in the areas of copyrights, intellectual property, online media content regulation, technology protection, e-commerce, and fintech are required. Another important finding is about the overall capacity of our existing judicial system to interpret the Digital Nation Act 2024, and in order to provide a leveling or an enabling ground to make the enforcement possible in case certain conflict arises. And so our judiciary don't have the legislative capacity in place in order to interpret the act and in order to safeguard the implementation of the act. Now for the digital infrastructure, Pakistan has not been able to perform well on various indices of digital governance, access, and connectivity, and this is no hidden fact. And as far as the Digital Development Index score of Pakistan is concerned, on the basis of 2024 score, Pakistan is placed in moderate digital development category by United Nations Population Fund. Now, this requires a huge effort on the side of digital infrastructure, and the Act actually mandates for establishing a secure, reliable, and interoperable digital public infrastructure, which is backed by cloud computing, data centers, fixed and broadband internet, in commensuration with the global and regional standards. However, the related elements are not specifically elaborated, that how this infrastructure is going to be acquired and how then this infrastructure is going to be regulated. And another very, very important area is the application programming interface economy. The Act has actually missed to discuss this application programming interface, API economy, which actually impedes the private sector to perform its role in providing the indigenous and homegrown digital solutions. As far as the imperatives for academia are concerned, the significant finding is that people is one of the key pillars of digital nation concept. However, there is no provision about people development, about research, about development of people in various fields, through academia, especially in the fields of information and communication technologies, engineering, and social sciences. So there is no mention of the people development or the human resource development in the Act, that how that source is going to be harnessed. So in conclusion, this is a very ambitious agenda, and it has the potential to leapfrog the digital transformation of Pakistan. However, it requires a very cohesive, well-aligned policy framework to steer the digitalization through harmonized policies and laws. The governance mechanisms in the Act are misaligned, and there is a need to place a dedicated body for policy planning and governance of the digital transformation under the Act, and the respective digital authority can oversee the implementation. Other new acts or other new laws are required to be introduced if this Act has to work actually, and legislative scrutiny is inevitable, and especially the areas of data protection, e-commerce, fintech, digital rights, privacy, and cybersecurity are critical ones for introducing new and up-to-date laws. And there's a need to actually enhance the capacity of the existing judicial system of Pakistan after conducting a careful scrutiny of the capacity of the judiciary. And then the provincial IT governance boards or IT boards are not integrated in the Act, and they have not been given any mandate across this digital transformation journey. Then academia is not represented at all, and there is a low digital literacy and gender disparity already on the cards, and in the absence of low level of digital literacy and gender disparities and digital divide, it is very difficult to improve the lives of a common man or the citizens. So there are a few recommendations, but I will stick to 3 or 4 most important ones. First and the foremost is for introducing a unified policy for digital nation that encompasses the entire concept of digital nation. Then there is a need to evaluate our past e-government initiatives that we have been undertaken since 2002 in order to identify the governance and the readiness gaps and understand the path dependency factors. And then the implementation of the Act, the infrastructure or the mechanism proposed for the governance of digitalization, it should be, the planning should be separated from implementation, and the National Digital Commission should be given the role for the overall planning and governance of the entire digital transformation, whereas Pakistan Digital Authority should be given the role to oversee the entire implementation. And the the boards, I mean the IT boards which are already functional, they should be given the task to actually implement the digital transformation in accordance with the roadmaps which are actually approved already. And then there's a need to mainstream the private sector, and academia can play a very good role in order to introduce those programs which can fuel up the human resource needs for implementation of this act in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ghulam Shabir. Such a wonderful and interesting presentation. Now I request Dr. Karim Khan to give his technical feedback on different areas of his paper.
Thank you, Dr. Saab, and thank you, Ghulam Shabir. Again, very interesting idea, very much related to the theme of the conference. But again, I have to do my professional duty. Actually, the study is highly characterized by some very good statements, but they are very broad and they are highly perceptive in nature. So actually, I am not very, at least in favor of those statements. But let me straightly go to the findings of the study. Actually, the study finds that actually it is based on some in-depth interviews which are conducted from 16 experts. So most of the results are based on their perceptions. So the first one is actually with regard to the definition of a digital nation, which the study tells us that a nation is digital if it has a digital economy and the people are digitally literate, or तीसरा जो है digital society. This is very, very broad. Digital society or digital nation has specific definitions. For instance, the first requirement is that the things which can be done online or through some digital means are done according to these means. That is actually the first requirement for a digital nation. And relatedly, it should be cost effective in terms of time and money. Not only online system, but actually it should be cost effective, especially for developing countries. The second requirement is for a digital nation that, or you can say it, I can ask a question, are people enough educated to do the things through digital means? This is the second requirement. And the third requirement is access to internet, which is very crucial for a digital nation. In case of Pakistan, the first requirement is almost done in every aspect. For instance, I can apply to my national identity card through online means. I can apply to my passport through online means. I can return my tax return through e-filing system. So many things are done. But जहाँ तक second requirement or third requirements की बात आ जाती है तो Pakistan is very poor. We have no access to internet. People are not digitally literate. So actually, these two are structural bottlenecks in the way of a digital nation. Second finding is with respect to the policy. The author says that we should have a cohesive policy with respect to digitalization. Policy about what? Policy about digital taxation, policy about public financial management, policy about online education system. Actually, cohesive policy about what? It is very broad statement. Actually, we should have specific indicators and we should need a specific policy for that things. Yeah, digital infrastructure. So again, this is very broad statement. The third is with respect to legislation. Somebody told in the previous session that actually we are very good in policy making or legislation, but we are very poor in implementation, and we are we are worse in evaluation. So policy making is already done enough. Legislation is enough. Actually, the problem is with implementation and the related structural bottlenecks that are actually hurdles in the way of digitalizing our economy and society. And finally, academia, government, or तीसरा मतलब ये है कि industry. Actually, the authors are stating all the statements which are related to government actions. In societies, government don't do all actions. There is no sentence even on our industrial class. या मतलब ये कि exports. Economy grow करती है because of industries, because of exports. Government can only provide infrastructure, which is, I guess, in major sectors is already provided in terms of digitalization. But actually, the problem is with other things. So that really needs to be done in the revised version of the paper. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Karim Khan. Now I open the floor for questions. We will take maximum 3 questions. I think no one has any questions, so rather I ask a few questions from Mr. Ghulam Shabir. I read your paper, it was wonderful, interesting. Key seminal papers are missing. I would recommend you to use those as well, and also put the ontological and epistemological stance of your research design, that how did you approach the reality and how this helped you to design your research. There's some typos are always here in every paper, like I found in every paper. But your paper misses the, what you call the diagrammatic visual graphics, so that it can gives more value to your research, because this is your thematic analysis. You have derived various themes, various factors. So if you give the visual visualizations of those processes, this will help you a lot. Last question, that you use the Excel, right? You yourself did the coding, and I don't know, you manually did the analysis. Why didn't you use well-developed softwares like Atlas and NVivo for your thematic analysis? So check the robustness, whether those well-developed softwares give you the same results that you have done manually. Okay, this is something that I recommend, and I'm very much thankful to all the scholars, presenters, my discussant, Dr. Karim Khan, and audience, and also thankful to Pakistan Society of Development Economics, especially Dr. Nasir Iqbal and Dr. Nadeem Javed. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.